welcome to yet another episode of the Straight Talk, a program where we talk and discuss about issues which are a cause of concern for the society. And in today's episode of the Straight Talk, we are going to discuss and talk and do an in-depth analysis on the tourism sector in the state of Meghalaya and how it has been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And we're also going to talk about ways and means to revive this sector. With the onslaught of the COVID-19 pandemic, the world's economy has gone for countries around the world to get back on their feet and employ ways and means to revive the economy. Similarly, in the state of Meghalaya, we are looking for ways and means to revive the economy through various sectors, and tourism is one of them. Kajingwan jong kania kelam COVID-19 kelapan kulmar jing mut shibun yakiriha ke perthai bat ngi iru banalo koi ka khia ka wei ni khoi ka blasha ta ha kania kelam kedai ka yok kot ha ka jalla ka jong iru ni yo I ba ka yok kot kala duna bha na ka daw jo ka jing khang khrdap ki yo ki hat ki karkhana ba kitna trikam ba pher but ngi I ba ka wei na ki tnat ka bala sham jing e ka dei ka tnat ki kam jong kai perthai Dia habangi pe ya habangi kran ya tourism ni teba ka tourism ka de ka way ni kitna ka papen mi pisa ka ba ai jak po ki bun ki yen ki sam. As we know that tourism, which is one of the crucial sectors which generate revenue, has suffered a major blow because of this pandemic. So how do we revive our tourism sector? How can we continue promoting this sector amid the COVID-19 crisis? Where lies the solution? In this program, we will try to answer these questions and much more. But before we dwell into this topic, let us first take a quick look at this short video report.
Us. We are entering into the COVID era, a new reality which all of us have to get used to and adapt to the new behavioral changes around us. It is a known fact that the COVID-19 pandemic has created chaos and has impacted the world's economy to a large extent. Similar in our state, Meghalaya. Tourism, which is one of the leading industries in the state that generates revenue, has suffered a major blow with the onslaught of the COVID-19. With many livelihoods at stake, there is an urgent need to revive this sector to make up for the losses we have suffered, while at the same time balancing our needs with the environmental needs. Let's go local. Let's think Meghalaya. The time is right for the government to bring about a robust policy which can benefit not only the state's exchequer or the people's lives but also the environment as a whole. How do we go about it? How do we strike that balance? analyze as our panelists spell out the number of ways and means to turn this crisis into an opportunity.
Welcome back, viewers, to our show called The Straight Talk. And for some of you who've just joined us, I want to remind you that today we are going to discuss about tourism from destruction to innovation. And in the panel today, we are being joined by the editor-in-chief of the Shillong Times, Kong Patricia Mukim, and our tourism entrepreneur, Mr. Deepak Lalu. We welcome you to our show, and thank you for sparing your time to be here with us and to talk about this important topic. So let's start this conversation or this discussion with one of the most important question. That is, what is the magnitude of the impact that COVID-19 has had on the tourism sector in the state of Meghalaya, Kongpat?
I think it has had a very devastating impact because closing hotels, closing restaurants means loss of livelihoods for so many. And it's not just for Meghalaya, but for the people from Meghalaya who also go out and serve in the hospitality sector. They've all had to come back, so you have a cumulative effect of people from here losing jobs, people coming from outside having lost their jobs, and there is a very uncertain future now, which discussed needs to be like you had introduced, turning this into an opportunity, turning the calamity into an opportunity, but this requires a lot of straight thinking and a lot of innovative thinking, which I believe Mr. Deepak Lalu here, who's a tourism entrepreneur, has been exercising his mind with the government. So we hope that they can come up with a policy that is more cohesive, more environmental friendly, more people friendly, because after all it's the community that gets impacted by tourism everywhere. And we have to remember this all the time, that in Meghalaya what we are selling is the environment. That is our capital. The environment and the people of this place, the social capital and the environmental capital, is what relies on. Therefore we cannot do tourism at the cost of the environment.
Mr. Deepak, you being from the tourism background, how have you seen, how has it impacted the people, especially in the rural areas, those who rely on tourism?
Well, as Kongpat put it, it has been devastating, and especially since the strength of our tourism is in the rural areas, not so much as in the urban areas. So there has been a lot of economic activity as far as tourism is concerned in the rural areas, but this has really hit us so hard that it has left a lot of people barely hand to mouth.
Exactly.
So we've seen the loss of livelihood that has been created by COVID-19. Having said that, but the opportunity that comes now is that we cannot go back to what how we used to operate, because things have changed.
Yeah, it cannot be back to business
No.
as usual. Yeah.
And I think it is the best opportunity for the government to put policies into place. Like what we did prior to COVID was something that was not clear. There was no policy. There was no clear-cut policies. There was no interaction between the government and the stakeholders, be it in the urban or rural areas. But now it seems that, the bureaucrats are much more proactive. They're finding out for themselves. They are connected with ground realities. So, in my discussion with the Commissioner Secretary, he has come up with a lot of suggestions, and we have also suggested of how to go about the ways and means of improvising in bringing in new tourism. Of course, we don't know when COVID is going to end, but we've got to get ready, because we know that it is definitely going to end sometime, and if it doesn't also, it will be taken care of. So, should we open up when the time comes? We should know what we're doing.
Okay. So Kongpat, recently you wrote an article on Maulendong. Ma ka ba pi ong ba ka jinglong jingwan jo ka malunong ka ki por ki snem ki bla len ka itna chi sha ka kum tu ka jingking ka jingki ru hende mentangi i ba da ka jingwan jong kini ki brio klem don ka nu ka policy ka ban bu mo ki kita kendon ong ka tangut ki la banya ti ka penjat ka pen pranai ka mariang ti beli pi tarai ka shimpor yang sarkar do ka ni ban penwan do dia kata ka policy
พี่ก็ไว้กับบกองสันทางนี้ก็ลองบางยิมละมันเป็ดตั้งเสกสอร์การเตะก็มาลน้องก็ได้ก็ชนองก็บ่ากิดอนกิรังบ่าชนองกิดอนกิน้องปัญญาชนองกิดอนกิแบบเละทัวริซึมเตะก็จิงก็ลองบราบอร์บากีองกิทัวริสกิบวันนาบาร์บาก็ costing ก็ลอง it's too cheap you know we're selling everything too cheap we're selling a living root bridge site just for 30 rupees ชนองเรียนte hapo maulanong kat bangadang let mga kaday arpo tengka te kumno ken it's a living root bridge. I hope people understand that it's alive, you know, it's not dead. And therefore la day ban perkhat ken you know pindale chapo Nepal ki construct ki thau ye ki jinga thu khana lai phojat baki la ban de shaki pat ba nang ta ki pen keu dor ya katu jakaru kat kum kita ki khana ken tingi day ban we fi ki khana tang ke saudong jong kini ki tourism sectors jongi ki tourism destinations nrai ngasem ba dakaba buram mo ngasem ba ngelong kerki ban yo lumpisa but kajing perkhat jengai kam don it's a very short term tourism that we are practicing and it's very destructive environmentally and also it makes people who come feel a little disappointed. Ki bawan bopli nga shanong riat man hakaning ina ngele ha ubanai March shwa man kangum to. Ki bon kita ki tourist ki bawan na po foreign countries ani hadu shiteng met ki wan kita ki tourist ki bana Assam kitem jingtem shato shapo bakenja jelam-jelam pintem jingtem hadu kharar sibaje men met I mean, it destroys the peace. So those sort of rules and regulations should have been in place. How about people niya ka tourism? Te kani ka jing shnai ka policy but ka sarkar ka long ka badon kamu. Tang ba kini ki shnong lu kila de ban shong perkhat ba ba kinum le shu kum tu kum ki jule men shwa ban penduna no ka tu ka jing kwa ban kiu spa sendet ban kiu kloi ka ka jing yo spa na ka tourism ken.
Te ba dipak phi don ni ban rap ha loi ka jing kren jong I kongpat halo ka ni ka binta
molnong kasulong ba kadon kata kana mo kadai kasunong ko bukho ya lain nang ta katuki jingking jiri bodon hang tu te kadai po hapadang kono wet bat ka riwai te kumbalong kinong pensedang ng MTDF ya ka molnong kajingking jiri kadai ka bakia kan at berbor ka hapadang riwai bat ka no wet mencuah kidang sedang kisim sepuluh tengkah hadin gitu poi arpo tengkah hapoi sekejing ya kam uwei nu uwei te mendai baka sarkar kalem persang ban ya penbet yi kini kikam ngakan mau bangila elek bat di kongrinet soklet arsin ila lek ila ekendu ila pelong meeting yi kidang yi kisnong bro arsinong la sedang ban ila persang yi bapi ban penbet ya kan rei poi sunu te karukom sensar sinong kamdon kata ka bahkan niat don ke jingte na sarkar ba kala ke sarkar ba kade dada ka ai hukum ke sarkar ba de ban le kumta kade ban long kumta ndrei mikila ka jong ke jing sungthu klem don ke jing yamir jimut bat ki weiru bagi ba la khamle bila kham I ke ni ka kam ko de ban long kumno te kia penkesan ni la de te kata kade ko ko sungsi ba te habangi I menta kumbi ong tongpat mentan nang nu pinyo jingking jiri bro ko perthai khewat Mdon, tapi lagi dia tak teli dia. Tapi dia tangkap mulunong, dia tangkap nong riat. Ladangan penjelan dia, pisuai berokai, pinlet sunu ru, layu sang pertai dia. Kanu pinlet kesuka itu nak te kedor dia. Ndai ini pada kedor kebatat. Mentah habai keren sarkar begini birokrat. Setenat nomor bah kan ong kolong clear thinking bah nomor lagi ong nalai issues ke bengi dewan baik bah pi kebenkong ke dei bah kanu ke jeka ke bah ni promote ke destination ke bengi don ni dewan don kata ke carrying capacity bengi ong Te kata carrying capacity kadai ba suang ru suma kumbaan ko sa po Elephant Falls. It is a confined space. You know how much area you've got. But kanungon ubri ula bandon season done. Menta with COVID protocol, you can calculate your carrying capacity. It is not only the carrying capacity is not only maintaining social distance. Okay, you will have to calculate
the carbon footprints.
Carbon footprints. You will have to even calculate. You don't sabar. You bangile ba. What do you umdi? Ki calculate. Lada upay ubrio katangot. Udan kamban di kata ka udan kamban pendon kam toilet kata. Kidon kamban kaset katiu gitu ki restoran kidon kam kata. Tu ukhen lut ikinde. Ngingim dan te kum kinde ki. Sulai lan ubrio. Kumbo ang kong pat mana. Tang balayo pisah la kerki la ayo lum la kalum pen nyan tu ubrio berkhait. It's not fair kan. You bawan ru it's not fair.
Okay.
Te sakawai pada bak sarkar ka simkhyang ya keren gede ya ka pricing. Pindas ngulungo haba shwa ka covid mo. Haba kiwan ki brio balik po Elephant Falls. Sangut ki song taxi driver sangut kabairung ya katu kali kabairung gede arphu tungka sikle ba pila benlet shadu shadu sisi sport Tri Falls nang ta pada santengka pada gede ba pi long pi kai siu ya kamera ya
Okay,
nang ta pada sakabai parking ti ha bu jing kheng ke jongi kapoi tatang sau phol tungka sikle tin ai geng pinyo ka jaka kum kum katai pila rung hang tu it is already secured. You do not have to worry about your vehicle. You do not have to worry about anything. It is clean. You can actually go down to a waterfall. So how many sites can you go down to a waterfall?
And also you have those what you call those guides, no?
Yeah.
Tour guides who are very well behaved, well mannered, and they explain things very well. I think that is also an area that we need to develop on, because in most of the destinations you don't have good tourist guides. For instance, when we went to that Rainbow Falls from Nongriat, there was no one to guide us.
Yeah.
So you just go on your own, you find your own way, and you may miss out many things.
now, Lada, if we talk about the tourists, the inflow of tourists, we know we have like domestic tourists and the international tourists. But now, since given the COVID-19 pandemic, how do we calculate that? Because we can't have international tourists coming to our state. And recently, the chief ministers talk about organic tourism, where we promote tourism for our own people. So, do you think that idea will work as before?
It will work to a certain extent, because I may want to go and visit Garu Hills now that they're going to open up hotels in Garu Hills. Garu Hills is such a beautiful place, and many of us have not even been there. Have you been there?
No.
No. So, let's first explore our own states before we go abroad or before we go for holidays to all these very exotic destinations. Namarba pi hangi hiru watang hang ni hapo ri khasiru te bon mengimpat yo ilut ti kijaka ti kanong knum ru bon mapat yo I ti kumta ke nyin ya lej mangi nang ni hi ngin ya will enjoy the sights and sounds, and there are people with disposable incomes who can pay for their trip, and I think it's going to be very good to get away from the from the claustrophobia of this lockdown of COVID-19. But I want to bring in one other aspect here. I've visited quite a few places across the world, and Norway is one place which I found to be very, very strict about tourism. So you cannot just arrive at a place. You have to book yourself online. If you go to Maulenong, there has to be a website. Then they will see how many people can be brought in that particular day. You have to create a sanctity for that place. Kanlong kachaka kabalong, full of wonder. ka baki breu kin da don ka ta ka jing ngau phieng te ha baki lech to ka jaka mdei ban shu lech shu hala shu yu ha po mau la nong ka don ka to ka look out point ka boong ba de ban kiu tang fu at that time ti mano kin da wan kin gi breu nawai gi kiu prangut lu ki kiu te hadu kala khlem ka to te kum ta ken kam itanat shu ken
Ti ba di pa kum ikong pat ila de boong mentan mo bagi bun gi jaka watang hari kasi jeng irung bangi patla banyi imo ti nakalian jong ka MTDC ka
MTDF.
Sorry MTDF hadu kanu tuli kini ki jaka ki bangi la ban promote nakalian jong ka
Ta ki babon pi. Namar mdei tang MTDF ru mentang ka don sakatu ke MRTF kitur kitrai bah ka kam. Ki lech bah ski no
Rural
bondong
tourism.
rural tourism. Kumbanga ong menen dai. The strength of our tourism is in the rural areas. Kapasungsi kapanungkong kalong ba the kind of investment that the government does. It is not proportionate to, if you are saying that the strength is in the rural areas, so your investment will also have to be proportionate. Te habang apek ngai I ba kamtam apek ng kecera sora. Premium destination. Ubawan hasulong udeban late sora. But when he goes to Cherrapunji, he is very disappointed, a lot of them. The number one that, the disappointment that comes is the number one is the waste management in Sora. As soon as you enter, you see garbage.
Yes.
So at least, if you are investing, if the government is investing in the rural areas, at least roads and take care of the waste. But this is another concept which has come out very nicely. I mean, the thought process of this, of the Commissioner Secretary. He said, we would like it that you take your own waste back.
Yes.
Which is, I feel, kalong kabadon kamba.
It happens in most tourist destinations, within India also.
Pira la kajong kapla. Your waste is your waste. You don't throw it anywhere. You take it back with you to your hotel or wherever you're staying, and you dispose it there. But don't litter anywhere else.
But this depends on the perception of the people, because some of them, even though they're educated, they'll still litter. They will still think that they can throw plastic around, or just because they have paid money for that place, they can consider as their own. How do we change that perception?
The checks and balances has to be there. I'll give you an example of when you go to Mahabaleshwar in Maharashtra. In Maharashtra, when you go to Mahabaleshwar, there is an entry and an exit tax. Yes. Irrespective of whether you are a resident of Maharashtra, no? You are within that state, but you still pay because you are a tourist. You might be a local, but you are a tourist.
Yes.
You might be from the state, but so you pay that tax. And then now, I just heard this morning that they have now started to be very strict with disposable bags that you have to have in your car. They're beginning to check what are you bringing in and what are you taking out. So these kind of exercise, I think, should be put into place, because if we do not check, you come in from Guwahati, you come in your own car, you go to all our tourist sites, and you go back to Guwahati by the evening, and you've thrown your waste here, and you brought your own food. So what have you added to us?
Exactly.
Now, when we come in, if you don't want to even see going like a door, if you contribute, if you want to penjakle ata kam long kain. Te haijing perkhat jongi haijing pengi yakran, yung kadai kain kadai bandon like a door kain bangin sim. Mentau beri bawan rung pas long, tu dia within only long tang burung ke, nadu barapani sini, udah bandon like jing siu, village. Towards Sorane, towards Dauki, kadem dan lagi jong jing siu. Ki local sites, kimat sim lagi jong ki fees, nai pentut iki.
Kamtam iki kali ki bawan na bar mo, kum na Assam. Kadai ka Assam ka bayo mentoy bahana kani ka tourism Meghalaya jungi. Namar bangim simpisa eru hang te hapo checkpoint ha umling. Ngim simpisa eru. I mean, we don't pay anywhere. Nang ta kitu ki driver na siya thiye paderu kim da tip hi shano banyalam kumno ban batay udon uwe tourist hisin upoy lai teng hapo sora te upoy ha ka orange tea stall or whatever that ayo mo to eating place te ukli nga ken la ban what can I see here tingo nga you've arrived now, there's so much to see. After some time they'll get dark. So then he said that the driver didn't tell me anything much. So I said, then you should have taken a local taxi. See, it's always, wherever you go, it is always good to take a local taxi. Tangba kataro kadai ka, you know, an area that needs to be really looked into, because many of the people who come, they come and they base themselves in Guwahati. They may come from Bombay, Calcutta, anywhere. They base themselves in Guwahati because they come to Shillong, then they go to Kaziranga, then they go elsewhere. So they should know that if they come to Shillong, they have to use a Meghalaya vehicle. And that itself will create more jobs for our people. No? So these are ways to capitalize. Namar ban shurung ha Meghalaya klem siu shi tengkaru bisulik pai kumbong ini balik pai kamlong they pindapit kum kini ki tourist destinations po Karnataka, no, like Hampi. Shua ban rung kila pet lupa pide ban deposit all your plastic things at the gate and you pay a fee for that, 50 rupees. When you come back, you take back everything and you take back that, you know, whatever amount, they give back some amount to you because they've looked after your stuff. So that is the way we should also be doing. Kaneka entry into, for instance, Maulan Nong or Nong Riat should appear very sacred, because I think for me those are sacred spaces. They, you know, they remind you of your heritage, of your ancestry, of all the engineering marvel of your ancestors. How can we just let go that so cheap?
No.
You
Bi ong
spoke
ikong pat
about-
mentan mo. Nga men hakani ketelang yo ngalikas po Chhattisgarh. Po ke Chitrakoot falls. Shikamta swam pinpoi. You have to leave your car and you have to take a vehicle from there. You cannot go with the car that has come from Bastar.
Yes.
You will have to park it there, you will have to take. But the point is, after this, when we start opening up, we have to be ready with services.
Yes.
Like Ong Pat said, you don't have guides. Always the driver is our best guide. He tells you everything, he tells you the story, some of it whether he makes up or not, but then he tells you, at least you know that there is some truth in what he's saying.
No,
And he
it-
will not misguide you.
It depends on the kind of drivers also.
Exactly.
Some of them don't know much. You
No.
know, they will just drive you.
So this is where,
But if you go to places like, for instance, in Hawaii,
yeah.
you go on the tourist bus, it's the driver that tells you everything you need to know because he's educated, no? So he has a little camera in front there where you can see everything and he explains everything so well. So that's the difference between tourism elsewhere and tourism in our state.
In fact, we do not have to go as far as Hawaii. Sikkim itself
Yes, yes.
has trained, I think they've trained about 90% of their drivers.
Yes.
Pindalai, you go right up to Nathula Pass, you go, and they tell you everything about the history, even right down to the details of who's growing which kind of orchid.
And very politely.
And
They're
very
so
politely.
polite, yes.
Yeah.
Kadai kata ka pi ong pi ba ngi don kamban ngin train ni kini ki tourist guides ki jongi hindai kum yong kong pat mene kum pi ong pi mene ro namar ba ki buri de ki wan ki no wan junga kai per ki wan da ki kali asam ti ngi na shubo de ki miglaya no miglaya ki la train ki no ki taxi drivers ki ki kam da jung motola da kini ki buri ki wan da kini kali kan kini kali na po asam ti ki la dan ru kini ki suggestions ki belami ki ba ong ba kini ki taxis and ki tourist cabs ki bawan nang tin na po asam ki ban sange no tang shiteng lenti but nang tu ki la ban shem kali ban to book a Meghalaya vehicle to travel around kum ta ken fees ngo kata ka jing ai jing mut jong ki bubun ka long ka la ban
Yeah,
say
it is.
so
It can be done. It can be
It
done.
should be done. It should be done.
And
yeah.
it's not difficult. People put hurdles in front. Okay, fine. You come right up to Barapani. You take the bypass, you go off to Juwai to Silchar, that's fine. But when you enter here, that's when you start paying.
Yes.
Barapani is the first point where when you enter here, you start paying. And then you roam around Shillong, you see all the tourist sites and all. But if you decide to go tomorrow to Sora and to Dauki, there will be another point that you have to pay.
Okay. Now coming back to the pandemic and how it has affected our tourism sector, can we say like this pandemic has given us an opportunity to to sit back, to
Yes.
introspect, and come up with innovative ways how to revive this industry and thus economy. Do you have any suggestion in that line, Compat?
No, so first of all, I think we have to have a very incisive policy, an action plan, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what we do. Now, one of the things that is an eyesore, at least to me and to many others, is that we turn every tourist site into a bazaar,
Yeah.
into a marketplace with that plastic cover on top. It's so disgusting. Look at that Umyam viewpoint. You've covered up the viewpoint. You've covered up the view rather,
Exactly.
with all those shops. So should that be allowed? Now the Shnong says, we've had a lot of interaction with the Shnong. The Shnong says people need livelihoods. I think this whole idea of livelihoods through selling is also, it really needs a new thinking. How many people do you need to sell? And recently after COVID, there are no more shops there. So I don't know where those hawkers have shifted.
But Deepak, do you have anything to add to what Compat has said?
Yeah, I think I agree with her. And what I've got to add is find ways and means of it being more sustainable without, really mucking up the place with all those plastic shops.
Yes.
We used to have a say that ikilong dukan masywa tingi dukan plastik tang si makurwat. Ha? Yang kayo makurwat la po barapaniru. Te kiju dukan plastic. You spoil, I mean, the beauty that you have. Pipenduk hidal ledi.
Today.
To how long will it sustain?
Tu katu kajing jaklia brokhot kapoy hang ti hadam brokhot.
It's like inviting all these third-class tourists
Yes.
who will travel without spending anything, expect the world out of you, and I think it's about time. And the government is seriously thinking that that charge money.
Yeah.
If you can't come in, sorry. Nam perkat mo pilet nang ni hadu no wet hadu riwai pinlet pe ikicing jiri. Tanggabay kali, tanggabay aeroplane, tanggabay train, nagani katay flalut kan no. Pindapoy hang tu. Bapinili yo aya kung tingking ladang asim no napi tong nyebut katar ko batat mo sispa. Bapinili ya itu. Ulawan na du napo Bengal, ulawan na du Maharashtra. Ita sispa un benua.
Today.
Tindre mangi pa de arfo.
Alright.
Te menta arfo tungka lada sispa ta la sangut em. Maroi bri umlai tu lasi ula adap sangut. Te sispa te kadang tat e fir.
Hakan ni kajuk mentah kan.
Te kadang tat pala.
Today. Te ngite ba ha kajing ya keren kajungi but ki don shibun mo kini ki promoters kini ki young entrepreneurs ro ki adventurers ki ba like keleng so dong kari kasi kajungi Henry haba ki yo ki shem they have discovered many places, the untapped tourist spots, but when you ask them like why don't you highlight these, the answers would be we are afraid that people might just come and destroy this place. So that is the perception that people have. So I think so.
No, I think that also is a reality. When you go to any place which is pristine, which is not, I mean, doesn't have anyone around, you feel so much at peace. Everywhere it's noisy, everywhere there's a crowd. So I don't blame them also for that.
They said like if we tell people they're gonna come and dirty the entire place. So
it's going to be overwhelmed.
Exactly. So I want to ask this question, like is the traditional land holding system in the state like an obstacle in ensuring that there is a uniform system of working things out and as far as tourism is concerned? Compat.
Of course there is. Our land holding system is very problematic because we are supposed to be a community. In a community you cannot expect an individual to own a water source.
Exactly.
But that is happening. Now people are buying up water sources, private individuals, and then they are selling that water to everyone who is in need of water. that doesn't make us a community anymore. That doesn't make us a tribe anymore. A tribe has certain, certain characteristics of common ownership of forests, of waterfalls. But now, we are all trying to claim, this Shnong is claiming, that Shnong is claiming. Okay, it's fine that it is within a particular Shnong. But if it is in that particular Shnong, it belongs to the whole community there. So if that place is being sold as a destination, I believe that the entire Shnong should also be gaining something from it.
Yes.
It's not just a few people making money. So, kumta kan kadai ban don ke equilibrium kan.
Hot. Ba Deepak dan
Kebersungsi hang ni kalong ba kerugum penyak kisnong kita ku jongi kan. Pilaya day kam ba ketu kisnong, pilaya day bagi orang ba kisnong bagi executive committee, pilaya penbet. Tang subujuli orang ba kisnong. One not the way, ubam yahap jeng mut bat pi, kakalalut berkhaj. Te kam yang ini kan kakam.
Jadi hang ni kan badai bandon da ka policy. Lada don policy hi mla ban enforce te ka policy te ka don kampi.
Entah kum pi ong pi entah lada ka don ke polisi pi wan rang ba asnong don. Ti lada pimbut ya ke polisi jung sarkar you can declare a lockdown.
Yeah.
Am kawai ka bang amla bas ngutho kalong ba ngite bakay ka sarkar kala shania mo shania tli hakang ladam di shania tli lok land ka majority of the they're hoping tourism to be one of the sectors that can generate revenue after coal mining. But since the ban, they should have, they should have thought of ways and means to come up with a draft policy at least.
I think they're in the process because the thinking has to go on, but there have to be consultations, I think, from different stakeholders because tourism has many stakeholders, so it cannot be just a few people. But let them have a draft policy and let them bounce it out. Let people then come up with ideas and suggestions before they really close down and seal that policy.
Yeah, the policy of the government has to be clear. Everybody has to be taken on board, all stakeholders. And like if the government comes up with this policy, whatever it is, there might be some Shnongs which oppose it. Leave it to them. If they don't want to open tourism, don't force them.
Yes.
There is no point in forcing them. You were saying about something that young entrepreneurs wanting to open up destinations but are scared of that place getting destroyed. But then there are ways to check. No?
Yeah.
Why can't I let in just this amount of people? And I know that my destination is safe, and I can even charge a premium because people will be inquisitive.
Make it a premium destination.
Yeah, people will be inquisitive. What is there that is in this place that I cannot enter?
Makes it so rare.
Yeah. So this is what is happening to some of the places outside. They have that carrying capacity. In one of my trips in a foreign country, where carrying capacity in a nature park was 200, I was 198. Another two friends of mine, 99, 200. There was another friend who just tagged along with us, 201. He was not allowed.
Yeah.
Said, sorry, you have to go and stay in your hotel and come back tomorrow.
So these are the learnings, that you get from abroad that you need to bring in here to make tourism more sustainable. And why abroad? There are so many other states in this country that have a good tourism policy and they've implemented it very well.
Ting ngashkoan pensai ki pajbahang ni mo kamtam gitu beri najak nong kan habang yakran chapang jaka kam jungo kai perthelin tourism. Most of them think like tourism ketitang benjungok kai ban shong banyabikai kini ki kamariang indre kimdan they can't distinguish between like eco tourism and sustainable tourism ki for them tourism is tourism.
No, there's cultural tourism, there's religious tourism. Kumanta bangi lek shepo Garu Hills mo ngi lek lang banit pet yak taga jaka ka bon gitu ki what do you call them shivlings in what's that place called?
Nokat.
Yeah, in Nokat. So there are groups that still worship there kini ki Rabhas. They kilet yang tu they do their own puja and all. And I'm sure there are many people from all over India who would love to go and visit that place because it's amazing. te kumta ken. So we have to, you know, designate religious tourism, health tourism, adventure tourism, ecotourism. There are too many of them actually.
I think like if we talk about that, I think so the time is right for, you know, for the local people and the aspiring entrepreneurs to, you know, to come up with such ideas kung fiong ladangi la ban designate iki kum cultural, religious, health. They can come up with such, and plus the policy which will be in place, I hope very soon. They habang ikran pa de katade, like when we talk about local entrepreneurs, considering the fact that now many people, many of our students, young people have come back to our state. What do you think? Which are the areas Deepa Kila and venture into when it comes to tourism?
Well, for now, I don't think there's anything that they can do unless COVID goes. But see, we did a very conservative kind of a survey, which before COVID, okay, when all the CAA and all that was happening, we came up with a figure of about more than 1 lakh of people are dependent on this, directly or indirectly.
Yes.
Okay, and now if you add up to the numbers, because the people have come in from outside, you know, like she said, you know, the ones working in the hospitality industries, has come back. Now that is just going to add up.
Yes.
So when you look at this huge number of more than 1 lakh of people whose livelihood depends on tourism, and the opportunity that has come with COVID of designing your policy, okay, and putting things into place. So I am sure that with the right thinking people in the government and their willingness to also interact with stakeholders, be acquainted with ground realities, I think this is the best opportunity for us to put things into place in as far as tourism is concerned.
Okay.
Light Loam is such a beautiful destination. But one fine day when I went there, I found people carrying a gas stove, gas cylinder and everything. They were going to cook everything there. Then they had this loudspeaker with music. That's not how it should be. Then when I spoke, akran begitu ki local hang tu gitu ki nong punya snong ki ong tipsen le kum no bu yak wa wan ra ite. So I mean, it's like kat le kat bamon kan, go as you please. That should stop. That should stop.
If I may add to that, Light Loam, when you talk about Light Loam became very popular after Rock On.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there was a time when, you know, when you drove to Light Loam, you had everybody selling rice beer.
Yes.
Okay. I'm very thankful to the government for opening up this particular topic in calling to wanting to grant license for homemade wines. Now, if you bring into the same kind of ambit about your, you know, your kyat, your rice beer, why Feni became very popular in Goa. These are hard drinks.
Yeah.
But should the government regulate, like what they intend to do with the household winemaking?
Yeah.
You know, there has to be a safety factor. Government will have to, you know,
Standards.
there has to be some
Safety,
standardization about. Then you can sell it cheaply. I mean safely, you know. But at one point of time, pindalech tay man ka dukan pi kepada yadum. Kebesupen yang baik itu bilar tu. Dan kebapak itu bilar bakhlem site. Ti kamlong kan kum tu. Tendrai ngilarang inang ban siam gini kabu. Mentah. Lalu ke sorkar. Kamdai bukan sukhang noi kata gini kayat tu kan le you tu. Tendrai lada kadon kata ka baki ong ba kadeban long kum ta alcohol content kan long kata. Laki jong kendon
Quality control kan, quality control tak ada bandon
quality control. Kini are a source of income. You see, you're asking about the other avenues, no? Look at the wine making. That is one big avenue that we have. Our strength is we have so much indigenous fruits, and some of them are very exotic, and you make beautiful wine. So that's another big opportunity for people. And if I may take advantage of this, you know hemp, H-E-M-P, cannabis,
ganja.
Yeah. See, there is industrial hemp, which you make clothes, and you have also, you know, hemp which is medicinal. Now, Boyko is a firm of Ratan Tata, which he has started to spend, he's put in 150 crores.
Okay.
And Uttarakhand is the leading industrial hemp manufacturer.
And we have, and this place is ideal actually, it just grows wild.
Yeah, it grows wild. It has a particular strain, but, and yet again, you know, why are we always, we're against, you can't do this. Huh? I don't know from where this came.
Di kiat hab di bore kan. Then the di bore pada la di buan. I mean, see, with tourism, all these things also come in, no?
If you have opportunities, mana pi am segi ek bela menle. Mentala dah sarkar ai license pi pinset kiat. Pi don la jong standard, ka kan check ye kudu standard brokhot. Ti sadia kan set kan. Lati bafi miap su tu. Kalau long safe kan, te long gumta kan long responsible ke sarkar. The different opportunities are available for us.
Okay. They now, like, if we talk about more, now we are in the new reality, and to straight away, you know, open up our borders and allowing the international or the tourists to come. It's next to impossible as of now. And our Prime Minister has also stressed on going local, thinking local. Even Meghalaya also, we're starting to think Meghalaya. So if we think about that, Deepak, you've mentioned about, you know, the different opportunities that are there that we can explore. But beyond that, to sustain the tourism department in the state in this time, and, you know, amid the COVID crisis, what else? Like,
I don't know. I was looking at, watching the news. I saw that Europe is opening up.
No, I think we also have to look at the larger economic issues. You can't look at one sector only, you know. Tourism is just one economic sector.
Correct.
You also have to look at agriculture, horticulture. These are our strengths. So they all have to combine together. Because when he speaks about winemaking, then horticulture has to come up in a big way. And you've got to allow people to grow what they want, to grow strawberries or to, you know, these are exotic fruits now that you're able to sell outside the state. Then there are other areas of the economy that need to be, you know, you need to think holistically. Tourism is just one of them. So if we just bank on tourism alone, I think it might be, it might not be practical.
yes,
But you can always connect them all together.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
Because if we open up, like I run a small little resort down in Bhoi, and I used to keep these local wine. People are very, very impressed with the kind of quality that is being produced. You know? And then, like you said, okay, horticulture has to come in.
The convergence, Ken.
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
need, you need to bring
Exactly.
convergence.
So then yet another opportunity opens up. Kumuru soalang dukur, mulberry. Sabhoy lara pishu siye ulalong.
Oh,
In 2 years' time, it's going to fruit. Do we manufacture jams? Do we manufacture strawberry? I mean,
we
mulberry
don't
wine.
have, we don't have processing units as yet. I don't understand. This is one area, one grey area, because we have so much of fruit. Look at the amount of pineapples now.
yes.
And it has such a limited shelf life. If you
Correct.
don't convert it into something, either juice or jam or whatever, you're going to lose out, no?
Yeah.
So,
So opportunities are there in abundance. Are we willing to do it?
Like, I think the government should also focus, like, pineapple, because they have that jackfruit mission for Gar
Yeah,
Hills, and I
yeah.
think we should introduce a similar mission
Yes.
for pineapple,
Yes.
you know, which grows abundantly in our state. So we're almost coming to the end of our show, but before that, I would like some last remark from you, Kong and Deepak, on how do we, you know, what are the ways that are there to ensure that there is an eco-tourism and sustainable tourism to move from destruction to innovation?
If you ask me, then you know, we cannot have tourism and mining at the same time. Even regulated mining, it has a huge impact on tourism because there are people who go caving, they're finding that it's not sustainable anymore.
Yes.
You know, the caves, I had gone caving once, that 17-kilometer long cave, and I was quite shocked to find plastics even inside the caves.
Exactly.
So what are we really doing to our environment? And so especially Jaintia Hills, you know, if you think of caving as an adventure sport, then you cannot also have limestone mining. And the amount of destruction that's happening through limestone mining is unimaginable. You have to go to Shela, you have to go to Bholaganj to see the destruction. The environmental destruction is phenomenal, and we have got to stop that. Yeah, we cannot allow that kind of unregulated mining to go on, and also want to sell tourism. You can have one or the other.
I agree with what Kongpat said. If you do not look after your environment and make it sustainable, there'll come a time when you have nothing else.
Nothing.
Your coal has run out, your limestone has run out, and you've really destroyed your environment. But coming back to the three things that, you know, I've mentioned before, I'd like to end it with that also, that, you know, the three things are, in tourism, are carrying capacity, your pricing, and your waste management. These, and your waste, these are the three things that I think you can expand so much in these three. And the policy can be based on these very strong pillars, because that covers a lot of area.
Okay. So friends, we have almost come to the end of of our show. But before we wind up, I would like to once again thank our panelists for sharing their valuable suggestions and ideas. Like Deepak mentioned, that the three things, that pillars we can bang on while drafting our policy: the carrying capacity, or pricing, and our waste management. And as Kongpat had mentioned, that, you know, mining and tourism can't go hand in hand. It's either one or the other. So I think, so, like, you know, when the government formulates a policy, I think there is a need for the Dorbrashnong, like we have mentioned before, the community to come together, to put their heads together, to come up with a robust policy. So once again, before you wind up, I would like to thank Kongpat and Deepak for sharing your valuable inputs with us, and I hope the listeners, the viewers will have gathered their much input from this show. So and I really hope that, you know, we will be able to ensure that we strike a balance between development and environment. Ki kublay pi baro but te parlok tat hadu bengi syam pi la syam tiyo bengi nya kedan halok away pat kaman kublay pi baro.